I'm now 700 million, almost $1 billion in debt.
Really?
You know why? Because I don't pay any taxes. The more debt I have, the less tax I pay.
If you can't make money with your iPhone, there's something wrong in your brain, not the iPhone's brain.
If you're an entrepreneur right now, the world's open to you. If you're an employee, your world's dead to you.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Robert Kiyosaki, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Stay small.
The big question is how much is enough? Because I think the reason Kim and I are successful is we always started small. Mm-hmm. We actually stay small.
Kitchen table.
And we do keep doing the same thing, but we don't ever try to get big. We got big, but I think we got big by staying small.
We did. I mean, our core group is very small.
Yeah.
And then we license out.
So for those of you who think you have to start some mega company or make millions of dollars, that's not really true.
Rule number 2, choose your teachers wisely.
The lesson is you got to choose your teachers wisely. When the market crashed in 2008, guess how much money I borrowed?
A lot.
300 million.
No way. From private investors, the bank, or how does that work?
Because interest rates were dropping and real estate prices were going to the toilet. And when I walk into my banker, this is what Rich Dad Poor Dad is about. Rich Dad Poor Dad is about a financial statement. Mm-hmm. Income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. It's a book on accounting. People don't even know it's a book on accounting. So I walked into my bank with my partner and had all this property that was floating to the surface. And I say, I'll take them off your hands. I just give me the money to buy the property.
Wow.
That's cojones.
300 million.
Give me the money and I'll buy your properties for you.
That's crazy.
So it depends. And this is my whole thing. I'm now 700 million, almost $1 billion in debt.
Really?
You know why? Because I don't pay any taxes. The more debt I have, the less tax I pay. And the average guy goes, how do you do that? Because you have bad teachers. And so it's this whole thing that you got to choose your teachers wisely. That's why I wrote the book, Fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. I don't touch that garbage that Wall Street puts out. I don't have a 401k. I don't have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, but I don't need them. Okay?
Right.
And the other part is, look, for you young guys, the best teachers are not in colleges. The best teachers are on YouTube. The best teachers are on YouTube. Wake up.
Rule number 3, make money with your phone.
I say to young people, the millennials, you've been screwed. You're being left with a world that's absolutely in horrible shape financially and all this. Student loan debt, pensions are collapsing, financial systems are collapsing, the rich are getting richer. But apparently somebody gave you something to get yourself out of this, and what the millennials have that I didn't have was an iPhone. The iPhone is the single most powerful. I cannot believe how much power that thing has. So it seems to me, I'm not really religious, I'm not political, but I'm saying that God does provide at some level, and God provided the millennials with an iPhone. Holy mackerel. All you have to do is sync your brain to that iPhone. You have more power than you and I ever had when we were their age. Do you know what I mean? The trouble is, if they haven't gone to school and they have a teacher that is incompetent, and we've all had incompetent teachers, their brain and the iPhone are not synced in to making money. Do you know what I mean? And if you can't make money with your iPhone, there's something wrong in your brain, not the iPhone's brain.
Rule number 4, be a wartime leader.
I went to war twice on the front lines.
Yeah.
And I changed. What happened? So I joined the Marine Corps. I go to flight school in Pensacola. I learned to fly. I go to Camp Pendleton. I strap on my weapons. I go to advanced weapons in Camp Pendleton. I go to Okinawa, and then they send me into Vietnam. And I came out of Vietnam about 4 months later, back to restage in Okinawa, and I thought everybody had changed. I looked at the fellow Marines, and I thought they were, and it wasn't that they were. I had been to war.
You got tougher. You got stronger.
It's different when somebody's trying to kill you. Every single mission, I went down 3 times.
No way.
Yeah. And I came back stronger and tougher. So I come back to Okinawa. I got like a week off, and they're going to ship me back into Vietnam again. I said, what happened to these guys? And it wasn't that they changed, I changed. So what happens to entrepreneurs who go out and they get their ass handed to them and they survive? If you survive, you see the world differently. And so that's what happened to you when you get injured and all this.
Yeah.
You see a different world. Whereas some peacetime who's climbing the corporate ladder right now, they just lost their job. They're sucking their thumb. This is the worst time for them. Yet for a wartime leader, they're
excited. They're excited about it. Yeah.
It's the best of times.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur right now, the world's open to you. If you're an employee, your world's dead to you.
Also, if you want to build more confidence, the science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to successfully build a habit. So I've created a free program for you where every day for 254 days, I will send you an unlisted video to your email, absolutely free, to help you build your confidence. The link to join is in the description below.
I don't cheat on my wife. I don't cheat on my customers. I don't cheat people. I don't cut corners. If I can't do something, I'll tell you up front. If I screw up, I'll tell you. Entrepreneur is a mindset first, a skill set, and rules. When you look at business is the same thing. Business is a team sport.
Rule number 5, inspect your cultural heritage.
Well, the Japanese had a thing called kumiai. Kumiai was that if you lived in the same neighborhood in Hawaii and you were Japanese, all the Japanese stuck together. And my father, who was 6'4", for Japanese is pretty big, the kumiai would come and talk to our family about the Japanese sticking together. And my father threw them out. And these are he says, look, we're Americans. Get that in your head right now. So I had this conflicting cultural values.
Sure.
So again, for every entrepreneur, first thing you must inspect is what was your cultural heritage. Not that it's right or wrong. What were the values?
Rule number 6, learn how to raise money.
And I made my usual wise-ass remark, only lazy people use their own money. And that's because I have spent much of my life raising capital. Today you have crowdfunding and all that stuff. But the reason I had to learn to raise money was because I had no money. And so if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in there, my rich dad always said, never say, I can't afford it. And it was my rich dad and many of my teachers subsequent to that. They said, lazy people always say, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. That's why they're poor. They have a poor mindset. So instead of figuring out how to raise money, it's just really easy to be a loser. And I call it losers. It pisses them off. Because we all have the power, if we wanted to not be poor if we learned how to raise money.
Rule number 7, adjust your mindset.
If you're poor right now, it was called look in the mirror. That's what my dad always said to me. He says, if you're looking in the mirror right now and you see a loser, that's what you are. You can't make money in this economy. You better change your thinking. Hindsight is 20/20, as they say.
Yes.
If you're looking at, you don't have any money, you don't have a job, your boyfriend or girlfriend has left you, and sitting there goes, well, how did I get here? How did I get here? There was a great book called, Gulag Archipelago by Solzhenitsyn. So he gets thrown in a concentration camp or a gulag in Siberia, and he says, how did I get here? You know how he got there? Because he was a peacetime leader. Didn't fight back. So people are being sold to go to school, get a job, pay taxes, save money, get out of debt, buy a house. The house is an asset, and invest for the long term in a well-defined portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. And I do none of that.
Rule number 8, have accurate records.
My wife and I started with a bookkeeper. Why a bookkeeper? Because the number one thing an entrepreneur must have is accurate records. I've made so many guys show up and they said, where are your records? They want me to fund their company. They don't have any records. They have no numbers. I said, how do I know if you're good or bad? Well, yeah, man, it's a good concept. We're doing a lot of good.
We're going to change the world.
Yeah.
This is like a revolutionary concept.
We're good people.
Yeah.
You know, I have a master's in art.
Yeah, we're from the same city, you know?
I know, yeah.
You know?
We grew up together.
Rule number 9, change who you listen to.
If you're not doing well, if you're not thriving today in this crisis, then somebody to your head. Somebody crawled upside your butt and into your head and messed with it. You know, go to school, get a job, work hard, taxes, save money, and then get out of debt and invest for the long term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. If you've done that, you're in big trouble. So as you know, if you don't change your thoughts, you don't change your life. And that's why I've been tweeting. I know I'm so old, I don't know what Twitter is. I'm finding out fast. But anyway, what was I talking? Oh, I said, go to YouTube, man. The best teachers are on YouTube, and they're not getting paid stupid academic rates. You know, they don't have tenure. Most of them, if they're a real teacher, they're doing really well today. You're doing well. I'm doing well. I would listen to us, not that phony at Harvard, you know, the peacetime leader.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is operate on faith.
I don't know if it's good news, except to be careful. You know, what changed my life was a book, like it did for many people. And it was this book here. It was called The Grunge of Giants. And it's by Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller. And grunge stands for Gross Universal Cash Heist. So when I was, I think, in my 30s, I went to study with Fuller. You know, he's most well known for the geodesic dome. And I first saw his geodesic dome in Montreal, Canada, Expo 67, the World's Fair of the Future. So my classmate from school in New York, we hitchhiked up to Montreal just to see Bucky's Dome. It was a U.S. pavilion, and it blew me away. You know, and but we all have these events and teachers in our lives. And so I think the good news is that there's a teacher like you online now. The best teachers are on YouTube, not in schools anymore. And I think that's really the good news, is what we're doing is the news. What's happening in the news today is fake. It's the old news. This, it's tragic. This coronavirus, you know, like, I don't know if it's real. I mean, the virus is real, but the media terrorism is frightening. So I've already been warned many times to stay in my lane. Don't go into medicine. Don't go into this virus. Stay teaching people with my little cash flow game. You know, I'm talking about stay small or we'll stomp on you. So I just remember back in I first went to the Dome in Montreal at the World's Fair in 67. And I studied with Fuller in 1981, and I studied in 81, 82, and 83, and he was predicting the future. He told us what was coming. And as I've said many times to many people, it's not what I want to do. I don't do what I love. I ask myself, what does God want done? And what God wants done is real education, in my opinion, and it's financial education. And there is no real financial education in our school systems, and that's not a mistake. So that was in 81 and 83. I couldn't take it anymore. I read Grunge of Giants, and I understood it because my rich dad kept saying, somebody's messing with us. And every time you say that, you know, you're a tin hat guy, you're an aluminum hat, you're a conspiracy, you're a spaceship, you're an alien guy, and I'm just saying, no, I'm an entrepreneur. At the time, I was in rock and roll. You know, my first date with Kim was to the Place, you know, and she was out front having a good time, and I was in back with the attorneys negotiating a contract. So I'm not really a rock and roller, but I'm an entrepreneur. And at that time, I said, what does God want done? Not what I want to do. I love rock and roll. And what God wants done is financial education. That was my opinion. And so that was in 83. So yesterday, and so I said, I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to do, because you'll never know. You'll never know what God wants done. So I operate on faith.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And what is your plan of action that you're going to execute this week to make some immediate momentum happen? When you just get motivated and watch a video, you have a 35% chance of following through. That's what the sign says. But when you write down what time, what day, what place you're actually going to execute, when you create the plan, you have a 91% chance of following through. And I want that for you. And when you commit to people publicly, you increase your chances even more of actually doing it. So I want to know what your single biggest takeaway from this video was, and your specific plan of action to actually get the result you're after. Let me know. Put it down in the comments below, because I want to celebrate you.
I don't know if you saw me on Patrick Ben-David. That guy's a genius, man. I love working with him.
He's smart, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's smart. I used to work with Tony Robbins, and he has that quickness of brain.
Yep.
I'm a little Hawaiian, a little slower. But anyway, he goes, I told him, I said, during the agrarian age, the church was the center. So every small town had a church. So it was very spiritual, and that was the culture. We shifted to the industrial age, and then weaponry came up. So we could now kill. They went from swords to guns to machine guns to rockets to drones, So during the industrial age, they started building statues to war heroes. So that was, as a Marine, they have the Marines raising the flag on Iwo Jima, and they have Robert E. Lee and Grant. And so everybody respected war heroes and stuff like that. Now they're tearing down Robert E. Lee and Grant and all these guys, because America is now worshiping the victim.
Victim mentality.
The victim mentality. And that's what I said on Patrick Bet-David. And a couple of my friends called me and said, "You're an asshole." And I said, "Well, you're entitled to your opinion, but I've been called better, and stuff like this." But I said, we're raising victims. Our schools are pumping out victims. And the reason I like this guy, Jordan Peterson, is he says, it's not what a person stands for. You see that? He did this great thing. It's what are they against? He says a lot of times they'll stand up there and say, well, I stand for socialism, but they're really against the rich. And so that's why when you talk about Andrew Yang and Pete Buttigieg and all this stuff, I wonder what they really stand for. What are they really fighting for? So I'm upfront with you. I'm fighting for capitalism.
Yeah.
I fight for education, that we should have better education. I'm not saying anything else inside that. I don't have a hidden agenda.
Sure.
So when these guys are talking about we're going to fix the homeless, I said, what does that mean? And so what Jordan Peterson says, they're against the rich. They're not for the homeless. They're against the rich. And that's where most of the people on the left are. And I don't know that because I'm not political, not Republican or Democrat. You don't have any religious agenda. You want to believe in God, fine. Don't want to believe in God, fine. But I want to know what you really stand for, not what you pretend to be standing for.
If you want to change your life in the next 30 days for free, check out my training right here below. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from Robert Kiyosaki, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.